Hey friends, welcome back to Chinez Tarot. This is the platform for channeled messages and spiritual guidance for the collective looking to master their inner world. Before we get into this reading, I just want to thank everyone who returns to these weekly readings for your energy. It's everything that goes into what we channel each week, so your presence is invaluable. Let's get right into it. So, needless to say, this reading may be a little intense. When I was shuffling the cards prior to even turning the camera on, when I was doing, my thorough shuffle before I started, I was like, this is going to be a love reading. So, for the initial cards to come out to be third party, secrets, evidence, risk, obsession, searching, emotions, unsatisfied, and around winter. This may be one of the more intensely emotional readings. So let's go ahead and make space for everything that we have. This is going to be one of those readings where the energy that is coming through that is already feeling like a masculine presence is on the other side of an experience that you had with someone. So this masculine has been living their life a certain way, and this reading is going to reveal what they've been feeling like, how they've been looking at you, how they've been perceiving the situation. So this is for the masculine who thinks they're in separation from you. So if you're listening to this reading and you're like, I'm not in separation from anybody, well, somebody's in separation from you. And that is still true. This is why we have to cleanse our energy fields, because there are always energies attached to us under the surface because of the frequency our heart chakra radiates. And those things can still affect us, even if it's not conscious to us. And even if we don't necessarily feel like we have unfinished business with this energy. So in this particular case, this energy more than likely either had a third party situation while they were in connection with you, or is currently in third party situations, or currently seeing other people, exploring other options. And this reading is really going to give some insight into what that experience has been like. Okay, so some of these masculines picked this particular situation because it seemed like the most practical. It seemed like it was going to be, I guess, practical in like a status quo way, where it was going to cover all the bases, and maybe there was more of a challenge in their connection with you that they didn't feel like doing. Okay, so the first card out with third party is the Lovers in reverse. So this third party energy is a connection who is aware that the connection that they chose is not the deepest, most heartfelt, most loving connection, but it is what felt practical in the day to day. Okay, so, but what they're still seeking is romance. This Knight of Cups is still seeking. It knows that it doesn't have the deepest soul connection, something that they may compare to the relationship that they had with you. And so it's still actively seeking that. So even within this sort of third party situation, I would even bring in a fourth and say that they're not only in this third party situation, they're still thinking about the fact that they had a deeper connection with you. They're also seeking out new and additional energies to sort of reconcile their issues and satiate this romantic need that they have, which is why we have secrets. Wow. So secrets with this Queen of Cups in reverse. So that's the tea. That's what was being held back in this relationship. And that's what's being held back from most of the feminines attached to this particular masculine. And most of these feminines attached to this masculine may not have the kind of guidance that they're necessarily that could help them see that they're sort of being maneuvered on a playing field that someone is not necessarily being forthcoming about. Because I'm not sure, I get the sense that this Queen of Cups in reverse energy, which is not coming through as your energy, it's coming through as a member of this quad pod, we'll say, that is going on. I get the sense that they may be aware of you, but they may not be aware of the other feminines. Okay, yeah, this is hardcore, like, player energy. Someone who's used to keeping a lot of secrets, used to juggling, and used to having the ability to really conceal that, right? But with the next card, we have evidence. And so, okay, with that, we have the Ace of Wands. So eventually, this way of approaching stability. And I know that this doesn't seem like it's an act of approaching stability. It seems like it's just a deceptive act. It seems like it's just maybe a sacral act. Like this is someone who's just looking to satiate their, certain desires. Sorry if you hear metal in the back. My cats are being fed by their feeder. It's giving that this framework has been like a survival technique for this masculine, and they are being pushed to evolve by realizing that they need to choose one feminine to be with as opposed to juggling multiple, and really lacking guidance in and of themselves. This is why they seek emotional relationships with feminines who lack guidance. And this is also probably why they had a disconnect with you. Perhaps you either seek out personal guidance in the form of this reading. If this reading finds you, it's timeless. Or you have support systems in your life that kind of prevent you from being as susceptible to this energy, okay? Because with the Five of Swords in reverse, even though everybody else doesn't know all of the players in this quad pod, the karmic reverberation of that is still being felt by this masculine. So although they're juggling all of these different feminine energies, the guilt and the reality that this masculine lives with is imploding them from the inside out. It's or corroding them from the inside out to continue to live dishonestly. Six of Pentacles in reverse, okay, because they view it as a personal risk to themselves to give to feminines, and they just acquire different things from different feminines as opposed to giving anything, because they really don't have a very good sense of reciprocation. I don't think that this is something that this masculine has seen. And this is definitely something that they knew was required to stay in connection with you. And they don't reciprocate. They require things, they acquire things from other feminines because they view it as a risk to themselves to give to feminines who, and this is just being completely honest, like this energy feels as though they deserve the things more, okay? And that they don't have a choice because this is a survival technique. And that in their mind, if this is your mechanism to survive, then you always deserve, that piece of food more than your opponent. If we're even thinking about like animals in the wild going after the same prey, they each feel like they deserve it more. And the reality is this masculine uses feminines in that same way, and they always believe that they deserve what they are taking away from these feminines. But I get a deep sense that they felt like they could do that with you, and that has internally backfired, okay? Because with this Ace of Wands around this evidence energy, this will come to a conclusion, an ending. There will be a climactic point where certain things are revealed to individuals who need to know about it. And if they choose to continue to engage with him, which, to be honest with you, the feminines who are also a part of this, who are in a lower vibrational state, may actually choose to do that. But over this energy of obsession that we have here, this is that energy of holding on to you. That, okay, so because they realize that the deep soul connection that they don't have in the third party relationship that they originally chose isn't there. They're now internalizing the specialness that they had in their connection with you. Okay. And this also feels like it feels like a monkey on their back. I know that this is a woman on a lion's back, but it feels like that saying, having a monkey on your back, where it's like there's this constant pressure to be better than the person that they're showing up as, because they know that in their connection with you, they saw a reflection of themselves, but they don't necessarily know how to do that deep soul emotional water work. They do know how to trudge through and to be strong and to, be masculine and to walk the earth plane, but they don't know how necessarily to go into those deep waters of emotions. Besides the fact that those emotions are already spilling over the edge. So, however, your connection with this particular masculine ended is what is on their mind at the time of this reading. So, they may be doing some looking at your social media profiles or trying to get a sense of where you are, how you feel in this connection with this energy of searching. Okay, because they do feel a deep sense that they have been completely off track ever since the disconnect in their relationship with you, and that they really severed what they feel like is a deep soul bond, and they feel that severance on a soul level, not just in the heart space and not just, repetitively on their mind, but they feel some sort of deep disconnect, and the purpose of that is to force them to go into their emotions and actually discover what that is in real life. Okay, with this excuse me, with this King of Pentacles, this masculine is very material, and some of them may be very wise materially, but in particular, and they may be an earth sign, but I don't necessarily get that energy, maybe an earth moon. I get that they're so practically based. That's how they got here. And their emotions are on edge right now because they're kind of trying to use the same tools to solve a new problem, because this new problem is emotional, and their perspective overall is what needs to shift deeply on an energetic level. And the resistance to that has really caused not only like emotional stress, a lot of endings, a lot of conflict in relationships. It has caused this energy of deep dissatisfaction, especially in their romantic relationships. But with the energy of judgment in reverse, it's this deeper knowing that it was in their own actions that they thwarted their ability to grow and awaken, because they weren't ready to do that in the reflection of their connection with you. Okay, so we have the Hierophant. So this has everything to do with their higher masculine self energy and their resistance to what they feel like is restriction, but it's just structure, or what they feel like is a burden when it's just responsibility. And they need to learn the difference between those two things. Okay. And so with the energy of winter, they are going through a massive period of decay and things falling out of their life. They feel stagnant, like they're not moving forward. But spirituality is not a contact sport. So they have to realize that they have to sit in it. And even though, for them, they definitely feel like they definitely are aware that they're on a karmic timeline. And they may not use those particular words to describe this timeline, but it's like they're on a soul level, they know deep down that that's the path that they chose. Before we look at what's on the bottom of the deck, if you would like a personal reading with me, you can do so and book me on my website. That is going to be linked for you below, but it is officialchinez.com/book tarot. That's the only way you can book me. So I'll never DM you. Protect yourselves from people who, use tarot readers' names to scam and do those things. Be sure to like this video if this is resonating with you so that I can continue to tap into this energy and hit that subscribe button. Okay, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Emperor and Children. Okay, so I know this seems like very conflicting energy, but it's talking about how this particular masculine energy has been trapped in an adolescent childlike state, and they need to step into their divine masculine journey. And they have been projecting this energy of the Emperor for a while, but this disconnection from you has made them realize just how stuck they are in their own trauma and just how much they've relied on multiple feminine energies in order to sustain them and make them feel a sense of authority. But all of that is withering away in this winter period where they're realizing they're on the karmic path and need to make a decision. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.